Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. And for my introduction, I'll try and be as brief as possible. If you're new here, and I apologise if you've already heard this loads of times, but my name is Sharon. I am 62 years old, and just over 2 years ago I found myself in a different position in life, a choice that I had decided to make, and here I am living in a rented property and just earning a little bit over minimum wage an hour. So times have really changed for me financially, but we deal with it, and at the end of the day you have to sometimes put your happiness first. And I can't say that I don't enjoy budgeting, looking out for deals, making a bit of extra money on the side. I must admit those things really do bring a smile to my face now. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and my situation. I'm sure I will go over it all a little bit more in future. But today, guys, I wanted to talk about money, and I wanted to talk about disposable income and what that means for you and what that means for me, and how much I have left each month to live on, and how I have survived on that, what I think is a small amount of money, for just over 2 years now. I do appreciate, of course, not everybody has any money left at the end of the month when they have paid all of their bills and their living expenses. But the way that I do things, which I have covered before, so if you are interested, you can go back to my zero-based budgeting videos, of which there are 2. I think the second one, I just went a little bit more in depth and tried to explain it a little bit more. But for me, it means that every penny that I earn from my job gets assigned its own job. So the amount that I've had to live on, and let me know if you think it's a small amount, if you have less, if you have more and you're still struggling to budget. You know, I always appreciate your comments, your feedback, and when you guys let me know about certain things in your situation, if of course you're happy to share that. So I have lived, once my bills have been paid and I have sorted out my variable expenses, the amount that I've had over each month is £147. And I've only kind of thought to myself that that is quite a low amount of money, since I've kind of like been watching budgeting videos and Frugal videos, and I've realised that a lot of people have a lot more money left than I do. So I thought I would go through it with you guys and tell you how I've survived on that. And that is really down to sinking funds and giving each penny of that £147 a job by putting it into a sinking fund. A digital pot within a bank account is the way that I do it. Some people might cash stuff with envelopes or binders. I see a lot of those videos on YouTube. So it really depends how you want to do it and what you're comfortable with if you were to adopt this method. For 2 months, and 2 months only, I did not use my digital pots to separate my money into separate areas where that money should go to. I just had it in one account and I was living off of that amount of money. And what happened there was, when it comes to, as an example, my birthday sinking fund, which covers obviously birthday presents, cards, anniversary cards, anything like that. Now, what I find with that sinking fund is, if one month I don't have a birthday, but I have a couple of cards maybe to buy, but I've still got the majority of that month's money sitting in that sinking fund, if then the next month I've got 2 birthdays, I can think, oh, well, I've still got £17 in that sinking fund. Plus, if I put in 20 or £30 this month into that particular pot, then I know that I've got enough to cover those 2 birthdays. But when I just had £147 in an account that I was just spending, going out for a coffee with friends, buying my personal items like makeup or body care, whatever it may be, I kind of couldn't keep track of where that money was going, and it was just going willy-nilly and I was spending it all. And don't get me wrong, there are months where I have gone over and I have spent more than what is in that sinking fund for that particular item. So for example, in February, I think I mentioned in a previous video, I went out to an event that my kids had bought me tickets for Christmas. And I went with a friend of mine, so it was always my intention to offer to pay towards petrol, which I did. The parking was an awful lot more money than we had anticipated, and so was the food. So not only had I completely done my sinking fund for February, but I had also dipped into other sinking funds, because also within that month I had lunch out with a friend that had been organised weeks ahead of time, and I didn't want to not do that because I hadn't met up with that particular friend for ages. I ended up agreeing to having starters as well as a main course, and I spent another £30 there. So socialising for that particular month was probably closer to £100. Well, I don't budget that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money. So that's when I have to pull from other sinking funds to make up for what I'm spending. But I've always got through it. And if that means taking money from the emergency fund, the holiday fund, then that's sometimes what I have had to do. So it's not always been completely plain sailing, but on the whole, this is what has worked for me. So how I've split up that £147, I've always had 6 sinking funds. So the first one, pretty self-explanatory, is hair. So I get my hair done usually every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on when my hairdresser can fit me in, because she's only part-time and I have different days off each week. So sometimes we struggle to get an appointment booked in and I may go 9 or 10 weeks, but I usually put £30 per month into my hair sinking fund. My next one is my self-care. Now, self-care for me means skincare, which I'm a bit of a skincare addict, I've mentioned before. Any makeup items that I need, but I also buy other personal items out of that self-care sinking fund, so I don't spend money out of my grocery shopping budget on things like my deodorant. I do buy hand wash, strangely enough, but I feel that's more, you know, because there's one in the kitchen and one in the bathroom. That's sort of, I don't feel like that is self-care, but things like shower gel, body lotion, makeup, skincare, as I've said, and even my antihistamines that you would have seen me buy the other day in Savers, I take those out of my self-care pot. And I would usually put £20 a month into that pot. This month it could go a little bit AWOL because the lipstick that I use every day, that is almost out, and so is my eyebrow gel, and I've already spent money in Boots, so we could come a little bit unstuck there. We'll see how we go. Then for birthdays, again, usually £20. Sometimes I tweak these a little bit. I have a couple of months, only 2 months in the whole year where there is not a family birthday. But I do sometimes tweak these, and sometimes I might put £10 in self-care and £30 in birthdays. It just depends what's coming up. Then socialising, usually £20. And by the time we've popped that £20 in, we have 57, that brings us down to Yeah, 57. So 30 for hair makes it 117, 20 for self-care, 97, 20 for birthdays, 77, 20 for socialising, 57, and then 30 for holidays. So in my holiday fund, I put £30 a month, which then leaves £27. Just a little side note about the holiday fund. I do, now not everybody will want to do this because you do kind of lose out on your nectar points, but I have them automatically converted to Avios. So for every 400 nectar points, you only get 250 if you convert them to Avios. But I have used them for flights in the past. It can be super handy, but that would be totally up to you if you were to do that. And I do think you can also earn Avios points from having certain bank accounts, credit cards, and also I think if you're a car owner, there are certain garages as well that you can pick up nectar points to earn more nectar or more Avios, whichever way you wanted to do it. So then finally we were left with £27, which would go into an emergency fund. So that would be the one that I would dip into if I went over on my food shopping budget, if I went over on any of the other pots. And also, for example, although I put £30 for hair, because my hair is 60, I have to get there. So I've got no pot for transport costs of any type, and it would cost me £6.60, or it does cost me £6.60 to go on the train to go and get my hair done. I've stuck with my old hairdresser that I've had for years, so I have to travel back over to the area that I used to live in. So that £6.60, for example, would come out of the emergency because it's not something I do every single month. I don't need a pot for it. So that is basically the £147 that I have lived off for just over 2 years. However, we've had a pay rise. And my salary this month, or the just gone March, I earn an extra £40. So I was super chuffed to see what that pay rise had equated to. So like I say, we do earn more than minimum wage, but it is only just over. So I think the minimum wage increase that was happening for everybody, my company have like done that and some. So yeah, £40 extra that equated to in my March wages. So looking at that, and also thinking about some extra sinking funds that I want to introduce now that I've got some extra money. So £40 extra per month, but don't forget our bills have gone up. So a couple of things have gone up that I'm aware of at the moment. So my council tax has gone up by £10 per month, and my 2 Sky bills total an increase of £7 per month. So that is £17. So if I take the £17 away from the extra 40 that I'm getting, that means I've got £23 extra per month to have as disposable income, whatever you want to call it. So with that £23, I have decided I am going to put £13. We're going to have 2 new sinking funds. We are going to have glasses, and I'm going to pop £13 of that 23 into that one. And I'm also going to have a home sinking fund. I think I mentioned to you previously that I had a furniture sinking fund ready for if I did ever move out. And that's what paid for my bed, frame, mattress, sofa and coffee table when I moved into this house. So I was really grateful that I'd already adopted this kind of budgeting method and sinking fund method a couple of years ago, and it's always worked for me, but I know it's different for everybody. So yeah, 2 new sinking funds, glasses, £10 for home. And the reason that I wanted to do one for home is I'm desperate for a new rug for this living room. And if you watched my very first video, which was my living room tour, I did mention the rug has had its lifespan is up now. It was beautiful. It was a lovely champagne colour, really shaggy. I absolutely loved it when I bought it from Dunelm. but it's flattened out tremendously, and I've moved it underneath the sofa by about at least a foot. And now the area that my feet are on, that's also flattened down. So we're going to end up with the whole rug under the sofa if we keep moving it. And I sound really, really nasally today. And I have sneezed so many times this morning. I didn't know if it was all the lilies that have opened in my Mother's Day flowers now, but I've never had any kind of allergy to that. So I'm not really sure. I had to stop that video. Scratchy throat as well, sorry. So the other little update here, with the glasses sinking fund, I'm going to pop in there the £50 that I've got due from Nationwide. As I've said, on the account that I'm going to get that money through on, we should actually get 100 because that account is in mine and my brother's name. So I'd like to think he would let me have it all, but I'm not sure. So we won't budget for anything more than the 50 that I know I'm going to get. So I'm going to start the glasses fund off with the £50, which hasn't dropped into the account as yet. Well, it hadn't last night when I checked. And I know it's supposed to be before the 30th of April. So hopefully that'll be soon. And that'll be super helpful towards the glasses. And I just wanted to also mention that I do have a sinking fund called Vinted. Well, that is really my clothing sinking fund because there's no other way that I purchase clothes. They always come out of money that I've made from selling stuff that I've already got. And honestly, I'm looking forward to the summer. I need to get all my dresses sorted out. I'm a real summer dress, colourful, print, floral person. I just think, yeah, just makes you feel summer. So winter uniform, t-shirts, cardigans, leggings, jogging bottoms when I'm just working from home. When I go out, jeans, stripy top, blazer or coat, depending on the temperature. So I definitely have a winter and I definitely have a summer uniform. But I know, I dread to think how many dresses I've got upstairs. And I've been selling a lot of my dresses the last 2 summers to fund new purchases as I go through. But I've got so many dresses upstairs. I'm looking forward to sorting those out and getting those up for sale. And hopefully I'll be successful and make some money there. I'm really looking forward to that. And getting some new pieces in with a bit of luck for summer. So I sold 2 jackets last month. So I've got £55, but I have left that sitting in my Vinted account at the moment. And I do usually replenish I have 2 pairs of leggings and I replenish that 2-pack every year, and the ones that I like and I stick to, which I think are really good value, they're really good quality. Trust me, shouldn't wear leggings because leggings don't lie, do they? That's for sure. But I like the Tesco 2-pack, and I don't live near Tesco anymore. But last year I got the Tesco 2-pack brand new from Vinted for about £7. I think they're only about 12 or 13 maybe, I'm not sure, they may have gone up now, but that's what I've paid in the past. So I was really lucky to get those off of Vinted, and you can guarantee that I will look again for those, just because I want to be comfortable. I'm usually sitting here working, you know, my dining chairs are hard, I do get backache, and I want to be comfortable in my clothing. So t-shirts, jogging bottoms or leggings and a cardigan to keep warm, and that's my winter uniform. So yeah, so we've got the £50 to come from Nationwide. We've got 55 in the Vinted account, which I've not withdrawn over to my bank account or into a sinking fund as yet. But I do have a sinking fund also called Vinted. And that's where my clothes will be coming from, if you were wondering. But I have got so many. And I will also sort out my summer sandals to see if there's anything there that I'm no longer wearing or I'm not keen on anymore, and sell those as well. So yeah, so it's £187 now instead of 147. But I do feel super proud of myself that I have survived for that long on that amount of money. I don't think I've done a bad job. Like I said, I've had to sometimes almost rob Peter to pay Paul, taking things from different sinking funds as and when required, but it has all worked out at the end of the day. And now we've got a little bit extra. We're going to start saving up for a rug and maybe some other things for around the house as time goes on. And yeah, I'm looking forward to buying some summer clothes and selling some stuff on Vinted. And just in case anybody does ask or mention in the comments, charity shops, yeah, I don't really buy anything from charity shops. It's not that I haven't looked, because I have. Since I've lived here, I have gone into the local charity shops. There are quite a few. I think they are really expensive. When I see where my friend Sharon lives and what bargains she gets from her one, there's no bargains to be had in my charity shops. I've never seen anything good. I may have picked up a couple of books on occasion. I always look at kids' clothes for my grandchildren, and I always look at clothes, shoes and bags for myself. And I have never bought anything for the grandkids or for me from a charity shop since I've been in this financial position. I'm not opposed to buying from Vinted. Sometimes if I've seen a particular dress, I'm looking for a blouse at the moment. Well, it's not so much a blouse with buttons, it's an actual top. It's not a t-shirt. I wanted it in Marks and Spencer's last summer. I did actually try it on in store. It was one May bank holiday when I was out with my daughters, and I fell in love with this white top. And I never bought it. I didn't have the money on the day, kept meaning to get it, and I never did. Then before I knew it, they had a sale. I was hoping it would go on sale, but it was never in the sale either, and I never got it. So I was gutted about that. So I am keeping my eyes open for that. I also have a dress from ASOS, which I really like, which was too tight for me last summer, so it'll be even tighter this year. I have got one of those dresses in my favourites because I really like it, and there is one for sale in the next size up. I made an offer on it and it did get refused. So we shall see. I might leave it a few weeks and offer on it again. And if it's not sold, the seller might well take my offer. Who knows? But yeah, so that is a bit of money talk for today. Talking about, I say, I'm not sure if everyone would call it disposable income. I'm not sure if it is disposable income when you're living on a tight budget. I'm not really sure if I should call it that, but you know what I mean. It's the money left over after I've paid out for everything. It's like my living expenses money, as it were. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. It feels like it's been a little bit serious today. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all your wonderful comments, all of your likes, and of course, thank you to anybody who has subscribed to the channel. Everything you do, whether it is just a thumbs up, it all helps to get the channel out there. This has just started as a hobby for me. I'm really loving it, and I hope you're enjoying it too. So I will be back really soon, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day and take care. See you soon. Bye bye.